A few days ago, I tried Wild Turkey Rare Breed for the first time in an incredibly long time, and I have to say, I wasn't really wowed. My initial reaction was that basically it tasted just like Wild Turkey 101, but with a much bigger price tag. So today, we're going to find out for sure, is it really worth the extra? Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, believe it or not, I've really not had Wild Turkey's Rare Breed for an incredibly long time. So long ago in fact that, well, I didn't really know an awful lot about whiskey at that point. I liked it, I enjoyed it, but probably didn't really appreciate it enough to be spending that much on a bottle at that point in time. And well, I've recently become very acquainted with Wild Turkey 101, so much so that this might be like the 5th video I've done with it. I'll be honest, this one's kind of reactionary. I had no intention of featuring Wild Turkey 101 again so soon, but when I tried this for the first time, it was actually on a live stream last Friday night over on the Craft Beer Hub's channel, and well, I didn't really gel with it. Now, I should probably preface this by saying I didn't actually think it was bad, and I didn't actually have a bad time drinking. It wasn't difficult, but well, just knowing how much I love the 101, I was just expecting this, but even better, a bit more mature, a bit more rich, and well, it kind of felt the same, if not actually slightly worse. But because it was on a live stream with other people having a chat, I was actually drinking this alongside a glorious pint of beer, which means that, well, let's be honest, my taste buds were probably heavily affected by that. So I wanted to get them together here today to go side by side and find out for real, actually, how good this is or isn't. Just before we break into them, a bit about each, both from Wild Turkey, obviously both exactly the same mash bill, and I'd give you the rough pricing, but actually, because this is a reactionary video, I've not done any research for it. I really just wanted to get this done and out there and kind of form an opinion for myself, and I thought, well, why not take you along for that ride? So I'll put them on screen now, but you know, rough pricing from memory, I think the Wild Turkey 101's kind of the 25 to 30 pound bottle region, and then in the UK at least, and then the Rare Breed more like 45 to 50. So significant jump up to say that, well, I didn't really notice anything much different. ABVs, the 101 of course is 101 proof or 50.5%, and the Rare Breed comes in at 58.4. It is a barrel proof bottle, so look, it is stronger fairly significantly, kind of 7 and a bit percent, but yeah, there's still a big gap there. So let's get into this, shall we? First off, we will pour a tiny dram of the 101. Given that it's, in theory, the simpler and weaker option. And then onto the new one. Well, new in my collection anyway. The Rare Breed. That opening, that aperture on that bottle is not ideal. It's very spilly, is what I'll say. But hey, right then. In the glass, they both look very similar. I mean, same distillery, same mash bills. It's just the barrel care, basically, that's the difference. And obviously, the ABV at which it's bottled. No real surprise, and I don't know if you can tell, but the Rare Breed, which is on the side, the Rare Breed bottle is just a smidge richer. It's almost just a bit more yellowed, a bit more sunbeaming, if you like. And it does look, now I can't do my right hand, which the 101 is in, is a bit better at swilling than the other, but let's give it a go. Yeah, there's definitely a touch more thickness, a bit more body to the Rare Breed just based on that. And if I look at the glasses, yeah, the legs on the Rare Breed are sticking a bit stronger, whereas on the 101, if you can tell, they're kind of running down the glass a bit quicker. But that's not really a surprise. It's higher ABV, it's literally a thicker liquid. So although alcohol is alcohol thinner than water? I've forgotten my physics, but anyway, it's definitely something a bit thicker going on there. So 101, I've drank it enough at this point. It is always delightful. It's a bit spicy, a bit citrusy. Booze is there, it's present, it's not overwhelming. It's almost like hot honey, the aroma on this. I always describe it as. It's sweet, but it's prickly. Cheers. And I have to say, the taste on that is always just a complete package. It starts off spicy, prickly, zesty, and flows through all those kind of normal caramel, vanilla, bourbon notes, and ends up with something slightly woody, almost semi-savoury, a bit peanutty in places. I really, really like it. Now, on to the rare breed. Given that these are same distillery, same mash bill, just higher ABVs, well, different ABVs, I don't think the 101 should really have tainted my taste profile for the rare breed, because in theory all it's done is kind of got me geared up ready for what to expect, which might have been the problem last time I had it, but give it a go. See, that's interesting. See, the 101, actually a bit spikier, a bit pokier on the nose. You can tell that the rare breed is stronger, but in a more, I guess, condensed way. On the nose, Wild Turkey 101, despite being very easy to sip, actually is pretty aggressive on the nostrils. But, well, rare breed, you can really get your nose in there, and it just delivers this acknowledgement of its ABV, but without really hurting you with it, if that makes sense. So, otherwise, overall it does feel richer, and it's a little bit more fudgy, a little bit more aged. There's more barrel note, there's a bit, I'll be honest, I don't feel like my nose is working especially well today for some reason, but possibly even a bit leathery in places. Not sure if I've imagined that though, so. But you know what I mean, there's something deeper, richer, more tannin infused, but not wine tannins. It's a bit more, yeah, earthy than that. Right then, let's give it a go. Cheers. This is very interesting. It doesn't really matter how well you think you know what you're drinking and what you like and what stuff tastes like. Do two things side by side and you'll always be absolutely surprised by something. And when I drank this for the first time a few days ago, I was absolutely convinced it was just 101, maybe amped up a little bit. And to be honest, totally wrong. It's totally not there, because 101 has this floral, spritzy, citrus, verging into soda kind of thing up front, and then it goes through those sweet notes and, as I say, finishes off with that slightly woody, savoury back end. But the rare breed, well, it's a rare breed because it's woody up front, it's rustic, it's leathery again, potentially. I don't really know how well I can pick out leather, but I'm getting something that I can't quite explain in any other format, and it has all of the base notes from 101, which I think is why I had that knee-jerk reaction. The citrus is in there, the savoury kind of woody note at the end is in there, but also it's very woody up front, unlike this. But it feels like they've taken 101, condensed it down, kind of shortened and emboldened it. Literally, well, distilled it, I guess. You know, really emphasised it and brought it more as a concise and boldly flavoured package, and then managed to kind of add some top notes, which are that kind of very woody, almost leathery thing at the start. And the finish on this, interestingly, the finish on this is completely different to the finish on the 101. It's much more spicy, aniseed perhaps, bit of licorice here and there, and yeah, I don't know, it's just, you get everything you get from the 101, but you just get a little bit more. And now I'm really torn. There is an approachability about the 101 that I think is hard to beat for anyone. For a 50.5% 101 proof whiskey, it is really something quite special, given just how inoffensive it is, especially at the price point it is as well, worth saying. Whereas the rare breed is a bit more complex, but it's also in some ways less intense at times. And well, this gives me a problem because they are so incredibly similar for the majority of the time, and then so incredibly different when they do diverge, that it's really hard to like, well, I don't really know which one I prefer. I think I am edging towards the rare breed. I think on balance, now I sit here going back and forth, the rare breed just does have a bit more going on. It's a bit thicker, the body's a bit better. It feels like a bit more of a luxurious experience. But at nearly twice the price at times, I don't think it's that much better. So that's probably a common opinion from people who sample both of these semi-regularly because, well, it just, you know, where else do you go with it? They are similar enough to say that half the price, it literally isn't worth it, or double the price, sorry, isn't worth it. But otherwise, the one they've put the premium on is probably the right one, because if you can sit there with it on your own, on its own, and just mull it over, it does give you just a bigger breadth, a depth, a variety that, well, I've always said Wild Turkey 101 is great because it gives you the full expanse of bourbon flavours. But I think Wild Turkey actually, well, does that and then some, because we're going into more nuanced flavours, stuff you would expect from bigger ABV, bigger price tags, that boot leather, that much more, I guess, challenging flavours in part. But yeah, both absolutely fantastic. If we're coming up just to which one do I buy based on price, well, if it's half the price, then go for this one. There's £5 between them, maybe £10 between them. I think I'd start coming over towards the rare breed just because it does give you that bit extra, and it is of course that bit stronger. So if you do like to water your whiskey down slightly, then, well, yeah, they're pretty similar after all. So there you have it. It's pretty much a tie, as you would expect, and yes, they do taste similar, but they definitely don't taste the same, and that's really what I wanted to find out here today. So that's what I've got to say about it. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.